ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at an action film from 2013. That movie is G.I. Joe Retaliation. Now, I have seen the previous film, actually, it's the only other film in this series, which was G.I. Joe The Rise of Cobra. And even though that film was flawed, and good lord was it ever flawed, it was still a fun and entertaining watch, and to me, that is all that matters with movies, is whether or not they are entertaining. And I'm kind of hoping for this thing to be as good, if not better, because I do happen to remember the ads for this, and it really does look like a few hundred times better than the Rise of Cobra. I honestly am not totally sure on what the plot is, because the ads that they ran on TV were incredibly tight fucking lipped about the plot, outside of it's G.I. Joe versus fucking Cobra, which you should know right from the word go, because it's a G.I. Joe movie. So I have no idea what kind of a story we are working with here. I'm genuinely hoping for it to be good. I'm honestly hoping for the whole movie to be good. And the only way I'm going to find out if it is any good is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out G.I. Joe Retaliation. Well, guys, I am rather shocked at this. For the first time since I first laid eyes on him in the mid-90s, The Rock is finally doing something that is interesting. He actually is pretty good as Roadblock. So, yeah, this is honestly the first time ever that I do not completely despise him. He's actually learned how to act. I'm fucking stunned, guys. So, Storm Shadow has a two-bladed fucking katana? Dude, that looks fucking awesome. I actually kind of like one of those. That looks really badass. And here we go, guys. A fight between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. And considering the fact that the movie has been kind of dull for the last 15, minutes, I'm really hoping that this kind of brings it up again and makes it kind of interesting. So far, though, this fight's starting off kind of slow and shit. That's probably because instead of using his normal tactics, Snake Eyes is using a gun, which seems ridiculously out of place to me. Well, guys, I mentioned that I kind of wanted the fight with Snake Eyes and Storm, Shadow to be good, and it really wasn't. And also, neither was the overblown chase scene afterwards. The whole thing was just kind of, overdone, boring, and kind of shit. Which honestly kind of seems to be the trend for this movie. It started off really cool, and it's going downhill real fucking quick. Well, guys, the movie is still really dull, but at least, honestly, the song that we're getting here is sort of catchy. I actually am kind of digging, this song. So, at least, guys, we have that. Guys, all of this action and all of this tension would probably mean a lot if I was given a reason to care about anything which is going on in this fucking movie. I swear to God, this movie has made no effort to make us give a fuck about anything which has gone on for the last hour and 20 minutes or so, which is kind of sad, because I have to once more state this movie started off really fucking strong. This is really starting to get fucking, depressing, guys. Okay, well, guys, that was G.I. Joe Retaliation, and I mentioned that we had a good song earlier, and we're gonna close with a shitty one. No, fuck you. Okay, so, let's talk about this movie, shall we? My God, I'm going to tell you. I genuinely hoped that this thing would be better than the first G.I. Joe movie, and it most certainly is not. It has none of the heart, it has none of the soul, it has none of the character, it has nothing. This movie sucked. Alright, so let's start with writing, because, frankly, guys, it really doesn't take much to write a fucking G.I. Joe script, okay? Alright, here guys is everything you need. Cobra has to have a plan that sounds really evil and kind of stupid at the same time. And they have that here. Because this whole plan is basically what happens if Superman 4 and War Games meet, except we're also going to work in orbital fucking missiles for reasons. Okay, that seriously is like their entire plan. Is just basically mishmash all of that and hope and pray that it leads to total global domination, okay? That is the best they have for a plan. The Joes are supposed to stop them. The Joes are also supposed to be a rather large fighting, force, and within the first, 20 minutes, we get fucking whittled down to 3, and all 3 of them are ridiculously fucking bland and lifeless. The saddest part is that even though all 3 characters are bland as shit, I'm gonna jump to acting for just a sec, this is the only time that Dwayne fucking Johnson, The Rock, has ever turned in any kind of a performance that was even half good. And that guy's is counting every single shitty match he ever wrestled in WWE or WWF. This thing here is the closest thing that worthless waste of skin has ever done to even a halfway decent performance. And that's sad, because he also is playing one of the most interesting members of the fucking G.I. Joe team, that being Roadblock, except they stripped all of Roadblock's character and personality away and turned him into another bland fucking soldier. They did the same thing with Flint, they did the same thing with Lady J, and that's all that we're stuck with for a Joe team. We have them, we have Snake Eyes, who's never had any personality to speak of because he's mute, so that is par for the course, and we have Jinx, who's by far one of the shittiest ninjas I've ever seen in the history of G.I. Joe, and believe me, there have been a ton of ninjas as part of G.I. Joe and Cobra. And she has even less personality here than she had in the G.I. Joe movie in the 80s, which is saying a fucking lot, because she was fucking bland as shit there. But the way that she was done in the original G.I. Joe movie is solid gold compared to the bland, lifeless bullshit we get stuck here that's posing as Jinx. The only other member of the Joe team we have is the original G.I. Joe, General Joseph Colton, who's played by Bruce Willis. And of course the fact that he is a fucking aging fucking vet kind of gives this whole thing a feel of, say, it kind of gives it a whole feel of the fucking Expendables. The very fact that Colton is then able to find a whole bunch of other aging vets who are never given names or personalities, and who you rarely see in the final fight, shows us that they didn't care about character at all. And then the only characters who have any kind of personality are over with Cobra, and Cobra as a group are given minimal screen time, which is a fucking sin considering the fact that even in the first movie, we got a lot of stuff in fucking involving Destro and all of his plans. Destro isn't even in this fucking thing, which is sad because he was the most interesting member of Cobra going into this, and they fucking wrote him out within 2 seconds. However, at least he was replaced with Firefly, who had tons of personality, so at least we have that. And of course, since we have Snake Eyes, we have to be saddled with his shitty fucking Cobra counterpart Storm, fucking Shadow, which I just wish that both of them would just go the fuck away, because I've never liked either, character, and this has done nothing to fix either of them. Anyway, the story here, guys, is fucking dull, and our characters are lifeless. The only thing I can say that is even a halfway positive thing is that they brought one of Cobra's coolest vehicles and they gave it a modern spin, and that is Cobra's Hiss tank. It looks really cool here, and we get to see a bunch of them, and we get to see all of them blown up within 30 seconds of seeing them, you know, begin to move, because fuck actually setting up a decent plot. We just fucking want action where Cobra gets curb stomped left, right, and center. Spoiler on that, Cobra at no point, as soon as the Joes show up, at no point does Cobra ever pose any kind of a real threat, which is kind of sad considering the fact that no matter what fucking iteration of G.I. Joe, Cobra has always posed some form of threat to the Joes. But here, our team of 3 fucking Joes, two worthless ninjas, and a small team of aging war vets are able to curb stomp them with no problem and no challenge whatsoever. It's really kind of sick. And guys, And as I stated, this whole thing started off looking really cool because we actually got a handful of Joes who were kind of, you know, interesting. Ones like Mouse and Duke, and then all of them get wiped out by the end of the first act, and we are stuck with a Joe team who have about as much personality as this fucking soda can. It's really sad. I wanted to like this, and the writing absolutely killed it. Now the odd part is that even though the writing sucked, the acting was actually pretty good. And I'm going to give special notice to one actor in fucking particular. Partially because he quickly became my favorite character in the entire film, and that's Firefly. Firefly is played by Ray fucking Stevenson, who also played the Punisher in Punisher Warzone. So I know that Ray Stevenson can act, and can act very well. And whenever he is in a movie, he is almost guaranteed to run the fuck away with it. Because honest to God, guys, Firefly is one of the only characters in this entire film who's given any level of personality, and Ray Stevenson is able to take that fucking ball and run with it. I love that. And everybody else, though, turned in passable showings, but I still have to put Ray Stevenson on a pedestal above everybody else because he has the most memorable performance, and probably, plus he also has the only character with any real level of personality, so we also have that. Anyway, so yeah, guys, the writing here sucked, but the acting was still fairly decent. Action scenes. Because this is an action movie, we have to talk about action scenes. If you are into mindless scenes of shit just blowing up, then you are going to love this, because there is a ton of that. Also, if you love long, drawn-out, boring fucking fights between fucking ninjas, you are going to love this too. So, you know, guys, like, action here is good if you're really into plotless, mindless action bullshit. However, seeing as on how G.I. Joe has been known for having at least a little bit of plot and mind to go with their action, it kind of feels a little bit off. Oh, I forgot something involving acting. There was one actor who turned in an absolutely abysmally shitty performance, and God help me, I hope to never watch another movie with this worthless sack of shit in it again. And that is RZA. RZA plays a blind ninja, you know, master, and RZA can't act. However, considering the fact that RZA can also barely fucking rap, why the hell would I expect him to be able to act? I hope and pray that I never see RZA in another movie again. That was a terrible performance. He fucking sucked. Anyway, it just kind of popped into my head. I needed to bring up that. Music. We had one memorable song, which is, as Colton is showing, that his entire house is a fucking armory because he has guns hidden everywhere. Which is something that we've seen in dozens of other films and TV shows, and it really isn't the most fucking creative thing on earth. But god damn it, at least it was a somewhat interesting scene, made even better by the fact that the song used there was really good. That is the only memorable piece of music I can think of, because the song that played over the end credits until I stopped was a really shitty song that I don't want to listen to again. So yeah, guys, music here kind of sucks. Camera work here is solid. Special effects here, what few special effects are here are done very, very well. Everything here, guys, is solid and would probably have been better if it was given a better script. And because of that terrible script, because of that absolutely abysmal fucking writing, I cannot recommend this. The worst part is that now I have to live with the fact that I blew $7 on this fucking thing because I was hoping for it to be as good as the first one, and it wasn't. The thing that makes this even worse is that this thing was technically a fucking reboot of the first one, which barely ties into the first into the first film, and it is terrible when your fucking reboot is vastly worse than the movie it was trying to reboot from. This movie is garbage and would probably have been infinitely better if they would have given it if they would have had a script that was written by somebody who knows how to fucking write character and action and make it fucking work. I cannot recommend this movie at all. This thing was a chore to sit through, and god damn it, I hope to never watch it the fuck again. Now, I'm gonna go rewatch the first movie, and I'm gonna go watch the 80s G.I. Joe movie, because I have both of those on Blu-ray, and those were actually entertaining and fun. And this movie can go fuck itself. So yeah, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.